Good evening, folks. We'll open this evening's ordinance committee meeting. I tried to get us right there at 5, but it's 4:59. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So much. Any adjustments to the agenda? Okay. Public to speak on a non-agenda item. And review of minutes for the September 7th meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Correspondence. That all falls underneath the current topic of discussion, so no additional correspondence outside of what we already have on the agenda. Continuing business, short-term rental ordinance. All right, so everybody is in receipt of the information that was provided.
Did Beth get a copy of this?
What is it?
It's a letter from the fire chief.
Probably not. No. And I'd rather you not have just a copy of that when there was something entirely different that came to us via email. You need a copy of that as well.
Yeah, the first one.
Because his first correspondence says something entirely different than that letter he's passed out for this evening's meeting.
There is, so you're just seeing that one. What's the word?
I'm citing the very first statement in his email to us. I can supply total number of calls for those years, but fire reports do not track rentals, and when we respond to an address, we do not ask if they own or rent.
Right.
And then in today's letter, he says something else that would imply he is responding to more and more rentals for emergencies. So given the discrepancy in the content,
Right.
everybody needs to have both copies.
Right. I agree.
Because he says something totally different in one than he does the second.
Right. But it is a fact that he is seeing more rentals.
And then-
Well, we can't. dispute-
We can't
I'm
discern
sorry.
that as a fact. He says so in this first one that he tells us.
Right.
He's not asking people if they're rentals.
Right, what we can't change is the actual numbers of calls.
Correct.
Which are up 29%.
They are up
Year to date.
29%, but they're also up 29% since Saddleback reopened and since.
Well,
So
since.
the argument that this is because of rentals
Right.
is not a factual argument,
Right.
and I will not have it
Right.
changed from
But it-
one context to another to support somebody's argument.
But it does go back to 2019, which is the COVID year. So there is 4 years of recorded history. And it does show that 2019 was 370 emergencies, and 2020 was 502.
Right, and this is region-wide, not just town of Rangeley. That is your other thing that you need to take into
And
consideration.
can I say, and but it's interestingly, because occupancy in 2021 was
Right.
much higher than 2020.
Right.
And calls in 2021, if these were vacation rentals, I'm just saying, and I can bring those numbers in.
Right.
Shouldn't that correspond if it was all renters? If occupancy
No,
was
no, no,
higher?
I am not saying.
No,
these
I know,
are
I'm just
all
saying,
rentals.
when I
No,
look, it looks
not
like
at all.
2021 is
No,
100 less than
No,
2020.
and I just want to state, this is not an agenda against the rental units. My goal here is to raise funds to pay for more resources. I mean, we know for a fact that our staff here at the Rangeley town office, the police officers are paid
But all
less
of
than
that, I'm
others.
so sorry, I'm gonna interject. That has
Yeah,
nothing to
fine.
do with the current ordinance that we're working on, because we can't raise funds at the ordinance level.
I don't understand.
We don't put in the.
We can't raise funds at the ordinance level. So this,
But we-
while this is great information that he provided us,
It's not designated.
huh,
We raise funds, there's a penalty thing designated in.
we don't raise funds at the ordinance level.
Right, the
So we-
selectmen do.
No, the town meeting does.
Right,
Right,
but you put
but
it in there.
they've asked us to come up with recommendations.
Right.
Right, so my recommendation is that if it's gonna take additional resources. And it's not just the rentals, it's the overall population increase in the town of Rangeley. So if Beth's business, just for saying, and not picking on Beth, but say the rental industry has increased 30% or 50%, I don't know what that number is. But the enrollment in the school hasn't changed. It's gone from, in the last 4 years, it's been 12, 14, 16, you know what I mean? It
I
hasn't-
don't know if that's true. I thought
There are
there
some
was a
other pieces
huge
that go
bump.
along though.
No, actually, I have the
2020.
numbers.
There's some homeschooling that folks that are
Yes.
in there, so you can't, I'd say the
And
numbers,
that's probably true, but I actually have.
well, no, that's true.
Yeah, so this is from the school department itself today. 2019, 2020, 12 new enrollments. 2020, 2021, 6. 21, 22, 17, 22, 23, 16 new
I'm
enrollments.
so sorry, I'm gonna reel us back in because this has nothing to do with the ordinance that's in front of us. And I say that because, yes, there may be a townwide need for additional services and additional fees being raised for services, but we aren't going to do that within the structure of this ordinance. That is to be done at the budget process and during those types of things.
So then, Madam Chair, what are we doing?
We are working on a short-term rental ordinance.
That's not gonna go anywhere. It's really not. I mean, the fact is that these people are coming to this town to make money. We know that for a fact. I mean, it's a fact. So I don't think that a $300 registration fee is the end of the world. In fact, I'm gonna keep on the resources because the town of Rangeley knows this is a problem. They wanna know how to fix it, and we can figure out how to fix it without costing them money. If we add resources to our fire department, our insurance ISO number goes down. For every number that goes down, saves the average resident $100. So our ISO rating in town is 5.
Which is all wonderful factual information, but we can't add resources from here.
But we can suggest.
We absolutely
to-
can, which you
Right.
have done. You have suggested a $300 thing. We never changed that. You suggested the $300.
But don't you think we should back up our reasoning? Why are we asking for this $300 fee?
Well, it's going to go to them with your suggestions and with the language from the committee, correct? And your suggestions were because you wanted to raise resource funds.
Absolutely.
Right.
I have a question. When the fire department or the police department goes to a property, is it illegal for them to ask whether they are renters or if they're the owner?
I do not know that. I'm not an attorney, so I do not know the answer to that.
I mean, that might be something that if they can ask, to see if they know, where the fire extinguishers are.
Yeah, and if you'd like that
Yeah.
to, I mean, if you want to direct employees on what to ask when they go to a location, that would need to be directed to the town manager because he manages the
Okay,
employees.
I mean, that was just a question.
No, and I just want to make sure that we don't turn this into a discussion that it's not
Right.
in our purview to have. It's not, we're working on the short-term rental ordinance. We're working on it for specific reasons. We've already put in what the expectations are of fees and why those expectations are there. To talk about the available resources, that's Board of Selectmen level, Budget Committee level. If you want more money raised in the budgets, we need Budget Committee members, get on that board. It's a matter of we're getting off the topic at hand, trying to address the bigger issues that are dealt with at different levels, at different board levels. If that makes any sense.
I have a question.
Yes.
Like, I left early last night. So did anything else happen? Because it doesn't really say that in the minutes.
No, there was no
Other
actions,
motions,
right,
okay.
there were no actions, no additional actions taken at the last meeting to make any changes to the document.
Okay.
Yes.
One question. I know that, the purpose of the ordinance, it says here, is to establish rules and regulations to govern the short-term rental with legal residential properties in the town of Rangeley. but not legal residents.
So what is the question? That sounded.
That's my question.
What is it?
Legal residential properties, not the residents, not to come up with, you know, how the residents within the town of Rangeley, how these short-term rentals protect all property owners in a reasonable and equitable manner. So residents, not just the properties themselves, because as I had stated previously, I've had issues, and the only reason that I know the short-term rental behind me is because I had met my neighbors. Just like when you move into a community, a town, a neighborhood, you want to get to know your neighbors, you know, potential friends, parties, cookouts, that whole kind of thing. But then to find out that that was a rental property, and they told me, and I think it's the one that Beth manages, her group manages. But then I did also mention that there are 5 within less than a mile of me, and I don't know the owners because I don't know if they're residents of Rangeley or not.
It doesn't matter.
And, you know, and so it becomes a transient, people coming and going, and it's changing the character of my neighborhood. It's changing that it's not a neighborhood, that it's more like a hotel, people come and go, and we don't know who's coming and going kind of thing. So I was just wondering where it says legal residential properties. Okay, they may own it legally, but are they residents of Rangeley?
They don't have.
Yeah,
They don't have to be,
no,
but
that's an area we can't get into, where we manage this as a property ordinance, it's not a people ordinance.
it's not people or, but
So
I
we
think.
have to be very careful about that.
But I think, did I read or did I misconstrue it, that we were thinking about having within 30 minutes of phone call or be on site within 24 hours?
Mhm.
But
So,
that could be the representative, it doesn't have to be the owner.
yeah,
there
may I
has to be-
finish? May I finish? Thank you. So what I'm saying is that Beth very graciously, you know, she's there, I can call her and say, hey, ladies are snowshoeing my property, they're doing whatever, okay, kind of something. But the other ones that I know are transient, I know that come and go, there's a new car there, there's a new whatever there, there's, you know, a party going on, whatever. As a resident of Rangeley, what is equitable to me to be able to like call the police department? Because I wouldn't know, when Beth was even said, she didn't know there was more than that, she doesn't manage those. So the ones, and then again, I wouldn't know whether you know, Sally managed them, or it's an Airbnb management from an outside firm. Because I did some research, you got Airbnb, VRBO, whatever, but it doesn't mean it's done within the confines of Rangeley. So as a resident, trying to protect my neighborhood and my community and my way of life, where's the equity?
Is that not in fact what trying to obtain this information is for? Is so that we are well aware of who is renting and who has short-term
Yes,
rentals?
Yes, so, and that's
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
clarify, because, you know, we're trying to do that, and then we're trying to say, okay, then maybe we need to charge the $300 so we can gather all this information, so we know who's who and what, and it goes to the town and it's managed by the town. So if I have an issue, say at number 71 on Lynn Way, I can call the police department and say, there's a party going on, it's midnight, 71, and I know they just checked in yesterday. You know, because I mean, I walk my neighborhood, I mean, it's a neighborhood, so just, you know,
It's not gonna change. It's not gonna change.
not gonna change.
That's not, you can't
No,
protect,
nothing's
you can't say somebody can't buy a property.
Nothing's
No, I'm
gonna
not saying they
change.
can't buy it, I'm just saying, where is the, so is Rangeley going to become, I guess my question, is Rangeley going to become a hotel?
People have free
It is.
will.
It is.
I know.
Our population
But this
is
is to-
923 during the week, right? People that collect mail, 923. Swells to what, 8,000 on the weekend? It's a hotel. We're missing out on a huge opportunity to manage this, control it, raise funds. I
How
know
are we
we
missing
paid-
out? Is that not exactly what we're doing?
No, that's what he.
Yes, we are.
That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
No,
okay.
we're missing out if we just sent a letter to the selectmen to say, we suggest you do a $300 registration fee. If that was the fact, 6 weeks ago, we should have sent the letter.
Mhm.
Because that's, but we just keep beating this to death. Scott asked for data last week.
Mhm.
I spent a day collecting data.
Mhm.
And now it doesn't make sense that I'm told that we're not here to try and raise funds for resources. We should go loaded to the select board with all of our information. So if Ethna Thompson asks me a question, I don't look like a moron. Like, why do you want to do this, Lee? Well, I don't know, but that's where we should start. I just want to be prepared. And if we don't manage this, it's gonna run rickshaw. It already is. It's already a little bit rickshaw.
So how, I just need to understand then what has occurred from the last meeting to this one to make you believe that we're not on the path, on the trajectory path forward
I've never,
that this board has put
No.
in place
Madam,
to make this happen. Because it sounds like people are not happy with the product that's in front of them now, is that?
no,
No,
no, I
Okay.
think that's why I got on the board. Was
Okay.
because I saw something, and nothing against short-term rentals.
No, it has,
Beth could
No.
have 1,000 of them, and I would congratulate her on it. As long as those people that were making a monetary, they're making money on our town. And that's okay, because making money is okay. But shouldn't they pay something to help our town? I don't see that we're getting anything. Beth has 54 employees, and that's great. That's 54 employees. That's awesome. That generates, that, you know what I mean? You've got to have a $5 million company. That's awesome. But I've got 14 employees and I need 14 more, and I got no place to put them.
Lee, you are awesome. Please stop speaking for me.
I'm sorry.
So my company's growth in 2020 was mostly condos at Saddleback.
Right.
If you would like me to bring in those numbers, I have no problem. So please don't say my company has grown by 30% when that's not even in the town of Rangeley, correct? I mean, and that's where my growth is now. In 2020, I did bring data, by the way. I also did research. This is what I do. It's like telling you how many houses you have have built going. I have no idea, but you don't know my business either. So please, please, I don't, you know, my husband said to me, what do you care about the $300? Fine, whatever you guys think, but please don't act like you know more than this, than me about this subject, okay? So, I understand when I did research also, and I didn't spend a week, I spent a day or better actually, but there were 700 vacation rentals listed on Airbnb. It's not a vacation rental manager, it's a marketing platform where all of mine are too, so that I would like to correct her also. All of mine are on Airbnb and all of mine are on Vrbo. That's a marketing platform. Out of the 700, these were the different towns that were included within under Rangeley, Maine. Roxbury, Wyman, Kingfield, Andover, Weld, Byron, Strong, Phillips, Wilton, and Carthage. The truth is, there are 414 vacation rentals in our region that include, in our Rangeley region.
Range.
That includes all our plantations, that includes all the private rentals and the professional rentals, the ones that are professionally managed. Now, if you, I would give, I mean, maybe 400, maybe 425, because there were some duplicates. But if you look, there's actually a company that I pay to subscribe to, you know, that does this market analysis. And it's all the privates, it's all the professionals. They look at all Airbnb, they look at all of Vrbo, and they look at all the professionally managed. So that's the number. In the town of Rangeley, I have 299 of the 414. In the town of Rangeley, I have 150, so I have 299 total. 155 of those are in the town of Rangeley, okay? Oh no, I'm sorry, 177, because we had to look at 2 zip codes. Aquasic and Rangeley. All of the plantations were under Rangeley for some reason, except for some back part mostly. So there's 177 of mine out of the 299 that are town of Rangeley. There's only 81 that are privates. So That includes, and I wanna let you know, out of that 177, that's like 8 at the Aquatic Suites. So that owner would have to pay $2,400, I guess, a year. Leah, okay, fine. So, and then that includes all of Stacy Boris's Fieldstone cottages. So each one would have to pay, which if you're okay with that, okay, I'm just saying, like, if it's gonna be equitable, it's gonna be equitable. I have some owners that own 3 or 4 places, so I just wanna let you know that those are the numbers.
460,
414, well, wait, I'm sorry, 414 region-wide, 299, those, no, wait. 177
in range.
in the town of Rangeley, which that's all we're talking about, correct?
Yeah.
So we can
The
manage.
other thing is that you guys need to know, now I can't, who knows, I don't have a crystal ball, none of us do. But the average over the last year, I was thinking about this too, I tried to pick it out, I tried to see when I listed properties. It looks like within the last calendar year, we listed 24 new properties. So that would be the number that would be paying this fee, because a land use ordinance is not retroactive, and that's also a fact, is that true? What, of the land use, like all of the 177 that are currently listed as vacation rentals will not be under this.
The only leg that is retroactive is they could force us to go back to when we started working on this ordinance. Anybody new since the start of this
Okay,
ordinance.
so when we wrote it in February.
Right,
Okay,
since the
So-
start of this ordinance,
so I
it's
just,
the
I know
only.
you're a money guy, so I'm letting you know the money. So let's say there's 30 new vacation rentals a year. That's your number per year of income.
But going forward, wouldn't they all register?
I
Wouldn't
don't
have
think
to.
so.
No.
They would not
That's
have
part
to.
of it, that's part of the.
Because it's a land use
grandfather-
ordinance.
Now, that is not to say that anybody who is currently doing it, who wants to comply, wouldn't. That's not what that is to say, but what that is to say is anybody who currently has an active short-term rental, because this is a land use ordinance, does not have to comply
No, I'm
retroactively.
sorry, I didn't make it, I'm just letting you know the information that I researched.
I'm wondering about that because
You can,
I mean,
I,
it's be like, okay, you have to change hands, but it doesn't change hands every time it gets rented, and why wouldn't it have to be?
It's the same.
No.
owner.
It's the
if it's a new owner, it will have to then come on board. If it's a new owner, or if they stop renting and begin renting again, if they pull their property from the market and then come back, because it'll be a new property.
It just doesn't seem right. If,
It's like any other land use ordinance, though. You don't want me coming in and telling you that now you have to comply with the land use ordinance that changes something you built 30
so
years
as a
ago.
business owner, I get a letter from the town of Rangeley every year. You probably get one, right? They want to know every piece of equipment in my building.
Oh, no, I don't.
And you send
Yes.
it in.
Oh, you do too?
And you pay taxes on it.
That's personal property.
Yeah,
Oh,
personal property.
okay.
So I just don't understand how you can Airbnb a house and make X, Y, and Z and not have to pay something back to the town other than taxes. That's just,
I mean, they are, there's the one piece where we aren't paying taxes on these properties, and taxes are what are supposed to fund the services, so.
but it's an income property then. It's not, you're in a residential neighborhood with an income property. I can't go to these subdivisions, I can't go to Hola and build an income property on Hola property. It's in the covenants. I can't go to Mark Borgard's subdivision and build a childcare center because they're not gonna let me. It's an income property.
I know, I'm just-
No,
I
that's
just-
because
I
it's,
just-
it's a violation of the town code,
But
but.
I'm like, this is, this honestly, Lee, this whole thing is way too negative for me anyway, I'm just letting you guys know the facts, you asked for data
Right.
last week, you said 800 vacation rentals, I wanted to make sure you knew, I believe, I truly believe with the knowledge I have in my head, that there's a max of 225 in the town of
In
Rangeley.
range,
Yes, in the town of Rangeley.
but
Now,
700.
we know regional, well, no, 700, that includes Wilton.
Right.
I mean, no, so there's 414 in our region and 50 plus are condos at Saddleback.
Right.
So that's facts, that you asked for facts last time, he asked for them, I brought them. If you wanna charge the fee though, it's fine, but I don't want the expectation to be, of my owners that if they're not under this ordinance, any owners that currently are listed with me, I have been told that they do not have to we're good we try to be good neighbors anyway. That's the reason I wrote this thing back in February.
Right.
We wanna be good neighbors, we wanna pick up the trash, we want the noise level to be, we
Right.
want to, we're living here for, I'm here for a long time, but if you want a collective fee, that's fine.
But do you think it's a good neighbor if I buy the property next to you and shove 15 people a weekend in there or 15 people a night? Am I being a good neighbor?
Well, no, I mean, do you buy a 6-bedroom house, an 8-bedroom house, or a 2-bedroom house, and what's the capacity? I
Right,
don't know, I
right.
own a 6-bedroom house next to me, it sleeps 15.
Right.
I bought it so my kids can live there someday, so am I a bad person because I'm trying to keep a property and pay?
No,
I don't think you can
just-
judge me for
Yeah,
that.
no, I'm not judging,
I
I'm just
think-
asking.
I think that yours is ideal because you're right next door to it.
It's
And you're
not
right-
ideal.
I mean, but no, I
So there we go, from the horse's mouth.
I'm experiencing the same thing you're
But I
experiencing,
mean,
Nancy.
you're the owner right there in a community, I mean, like I said, thank goodness I know that you do the one behind me, I don't know who does the other ones. And then, maybe a question for Ed, did I hear that, if the town does so much, but in communities like HOLA, we have the right to be able to say, in our community, there can be only X short-term rentals, or there can only be, or no?
I'm sure your association.
And your
Association
association has the right
Association has
to,
the-
yeah, your
to do that.
association can write whatever rules and regulations they want for your
Yeah.
association, as
Even though
long
we're
as you
in the
get.
town of Braintree.
Yeah, as long as you get a collective vote from your group who's responsible from your board and they say yes to that, I mean, that's on you guys and you telling the homeowners up there that they can't do what they want with their property.
When someone purchases a property in a homeowner association, they understand.
They
there's-
understand those covenants.
There's covenants with that, and
Yes,
those, and that's part of that
yes,
process,
Yes,
so it's not like you're bringing these in after the fact.
Well, it
There's
would
already-
be, because
Wait,
we
but
bring it to
there's
the
al-
board.
What I'm saying, there's already an
Just to the board.
association there, is what I'm saying, it's not like you're forming an association, there's already one there.
Right, yeah.
And so it's already in existence, and you have the right to alter those rules accordingly.
Well, that I understood, I just wanted to make sure, because I didn't know if Braintree would supersede by saying, so that my association, the
You'd have better
association,
luck.
whichever is
you'd have
more
better luck with
restrictive.
the
Yeah,
association.
but if your association did the life safety thing that was in violation of the community, that'd be a different story.
Right.
That's probably one of the few areas that would be.
Yeah, like we have.
Anything that would violate state law or
Right.
life safety issues is the only thing you can't implement.
Mhm.
So,
And I
my
had actually
understanding.
spoken to Millie about some ideas, and different
Yeah, that's what I'm
associations have
saying.
said, like, no renters can have pets, they voted that, so associations can vote in rules like that, so.
And I'm sorry, Scott had
That's-
something to say.
I appreciate it, Scott, and I thank you for the data, I think it is important.
Sorry.
But what I'm, bear with me for just a sec. I appreciate the idea that, we want to make suggestions to the selectmen, but I think another suggestion, and this I want to throw to the board to consider is, I realize it's a land use ordinance, so you're not gonna, people don't have to, but to encourage the registration, I think if we, to encourage those who are already doing it, give them a break on the fee. I just think there has to be a way of getting the numbers, the data that we want to get them to register, to encourage that, and maybe we say, okay, first year you get to register, there's no, I don't know, is there a way of meeting a kind of helping us get those registrations so that we get the data that we want, because that's what we're really looking for, is we want to be able to know what we have. And yes, I appreciate the idea about finances, but let's put that off just to the side for a minute. And what's more important for us right now is to get the data, the registrations, and you can work on that other piece. The selectmen always have the right to go back and add a fee. I think maybe we could move forward and then get this out to, from there. It's just a thought.
Yeah, just a question. You said the land use is not retroactive, so you can't do the charging of any fees or whatever, but can you gather the data, or people could just ignore it if they already exist, they don't have to do the data?
Unfortunately, as I said, I see anyone who is, a active, willing participant in the town of Rangeley and wants to be a good neighbor will submit to the ordinance.
Okay,
That it's not going to be an
But-
issue for people, but they don't.
they don't have to, so.
And that's the caveat that I want to make sure everybody's aware of, because it's a land use ordinance.
Okay.
And the most by Yeah, Portland versus, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I was gonna write it down before I got here. The furthest we can go back is to the start of when we started talking about this ordinance.
Right,
So essentially, anybody who is new since February.
so in view of that, if we said that the first year, there was no fee, okay? Just so if you register ahead, the first year, there's no fee, subsequent registers will cost whatever we decide. Suggest for the selectmen to decide. But, once somebody registers, do they have to re-register every year?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be my suggestion, because then you gather the information, and once they register, they sort of stuck their hand out there to be taxed. So that would be my recommendation.
Right.
And that would be a change, so I would move that. That the first year, we suggest no registration fee
To encourage.
to encourage data gathering.
As a renter of property, say in Rangeley, what's in it for me? Why should I register?
It's a good question. So what
Why
value can we,
would I
what
do
value
it?
can
Why
we
would I
add?
even do it? If I'm already under the radar, I'm probably not paying taxes, I'm probably not whatever. What's in it for me? What's in it to be a good neighbor to do that?
What's in it for the town of Rangeley?
I know, but I mean,
Nothing.
we're nothing. Well, I mean, for town of Rangeley, it's to see, where our resources are being spent and what's going on, I think, to understand that, I mean, maybe it's already, maybe it's already understood. We are a bedroom for, we're a tourist town, we're just bedrooms, that's it. We're hotel motels, even though we're not hotel motels, bed and breakfasts, but hotels, motels, and bed and breakfasts live by a totally different list of rules that these privately owned establishments, which are making money as well, are under the radar.
I don't understand why every other community like Camden, Rockland, all those places have applied registration fees, some of them up as high as $500 per bedroom.
Mhm.
Why would we not entertain such a thing? I just,
Oh, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, I'm just saying I want to encourage people to register to begin with.
Sure.
And that making it free makes people feel like, well, I register now, I don't have to pay the fee.
I don't think that makes a difference.
And I appreciate there has to be an incentivization to get them to register. I don't know what that would be, but I think that is something to look at, okay, you register, and I don't know, what it would be, but here's the, piece, and I think you're quite right, Nancy, but if you make it appealing to them, that, this is whatever it is, and I don't know what that would be, okay, but, so there's an incentive to register, as opposed to a disincentive, well, I don't get anything, and I'm still gonna pay $300, and yes, it's about, being good to the community, but I don't have to do it right now, whereas if there's this other incentive over here, then okay, I'm gonna bring myself under this piece, knowing that as it goes forward, there may be additional things, but there has to be, you're quite right, an incentive to do that. I don't know what that would be, but I think that's something we maybe kick around and think about.
So I'm just sitting here wondering what the goal is. What the goal is, and I think we all have different goals, obviously, and we're all here for different reasons, and that's okay. What I believe our town wants, and this is again, just my opinion, is we want to figure this out together. We know we need the visitors, or we're not gonna have our businesses, and that's fine if some people don't want our businesses. I do, and our local community cannot support all these restaurants. It can't support all our shops. So I am trying to figure this out. I don't want to ruin our town either. Our town is way more than a bedroom town. If that's what you feel, that's fine. But the reason people want to come here is because of our outdoor amenities. It's because of our views. It's because of our hiking trails. It's because of our people. And we need a place for them to stay. And I was part of writing this ordinance because I want to be a good neighbor. We are working on it. I feel like that's the goal. I feel like the goal is for Nancy to know every single neighbor that is renting, so she can call the town of Rangeley and say, this house is a problem. There's too many, they're parking all over Lynn Way, there's way too many people, it's way too loud. And that type of homeowner is gonna try to fly under the radar as long as they possibly can, they're already breaking all the rules. I just told you, I have 177 of the 225. I don't know what percentage is, you're the math guy, but we're trying to do it right, and that's not even Kelly O'Neill, so I assume Kel has at least 10 or 15, I don't even know, but I'm trying to figure out what the goal is. I know our town wants us to do something, I'm not saying they don't, but I think they want us to all figure this out together and not punish the people that are already doing it right, and they're gonna jump on the bandwagon. So Val's saying 1 year free, you're saying it for me, I have like what, 75%, the places, I am gonna follow the rules, but I don't know, I'm already following the rules, so I'm like, okay, great, how do you think that makes me feel, knowing that the people that aren't following the rules aren't paying $300? Whatever, it's fine, I don't want this to be negative, we're all here for different reasons, but I promise you, like, I think the goal of what I believe the goal of our town is to get everyone registered. Get everyone registered. So if charging a fee that's gonna be so small because there's like 20 new properties a year or whatever it is, or I guess you're expecting to get the bulk of it from me. That's what it sounds like. Okay. I don't
You
even
just
know.
offered
I don't even know what to say about
it.
that.
You just offered it.
Yeah, right. But I don't own 177 properties. And so anyway, I'm trying to figure this out. Like, I'm like, is this really, I know that you guys feel like the selectmen want an answer to this, but the selectmen want us to have everyone register, I think. I don't know.
We don't know that.
But even if there was no fee, they don't have to register, so,
Right, I know.
that's the problem, is that you're saying that you can't make people provide information, and I just feel like maybe we should not go out from a land use, whatever you said, regulation. Is there some other way that you should do this that will gather the information as required? We can force people to provide the information, even if we don't get any fees for it. We can make people provide the information. I don't know. I'm asking.
So are you saying, not this ordinance, but maybe there's something else?
Well, not necessarily, the wording can all be someplace else, but it wouldn't be a land use ordinance. That's because you said land use can't be retroactive. What can be retroactive as far as information gathering, not penalties. I know penalties you can't ever go back because they didn't exist, so why should you have to comply? But now going forward, you're still operating a business from this point forward. You're gathering money from this point forward. I don't know why that's considered retroactive if you're going forward and doing things. You can't get it from last year, but this year forward, I don't understand how that's retroactive.
I was saying because I'm late.
Thank you, Lee.
Sorry.
When Beth brought up the thing about the goals of this ordinance, from what I've read and releases from other communities, a big part of their ordinances seem to be caps on the number of short-term rentals, because if there aren't caps, local affordable housing for the workers that service all these businesses is non-existent. And so I didn't know if that's already been part of your discussion.
No, it has, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
I keep.
No,
reading
you
this
probably-
band
And if
You
I can catch up outside the meeting.
No,
sometime,
no.
if this is out of line
And I do
redundant to you
Right.
folks.
And-
No,
and
there's no problem at all, Mark.
I think we have lost some long-term rental in the short-term rental game, and it is what it is. I think it's my job as an employer to figure out where I'm gonna house my employees and so we work on that. But my goal from the start has been to, obviously, this town is growing, whether it's the Airbnbs or just people are coming here, and our resources I don't feel have kept up with the growing number. And I kind of want to use this as a tool to help us raise some, I'm sorry, money or to build our resources so that it's less of a burden on the taxpayers. Is it gonna work? I don't know. It's just, it's hard because you don't wanna, you know what I mean? We do need the renters, but we also need the employees. So where is the fine line? I don't know if capping it's the way to do it, because if there's only 300 or 400, then I don't know, is that a lot? Is that a little?
So initially, Mark, just to catch you up really quick, there was conversation about capping that was voted to be removed. There was also conversation about making it not allowable in certain zones like the residential, and make sure that the residential was cordoned off for residents and to not be used for short-term rentals, but that was also thrown out. So there were attempts to make this a little more like other ones and in an effort to try and recapture some of the long-term rental properties. And both of those ideas were voted down. So they are not in the
By this
current document.
committee.
So they are not in the current document.
Okay.
No.
And one other thing that I saw when I read it, with these communities that have adopted these ordinances, several of them have taken the income from the registration fee and hired, there's management companies that do all of that stuff, track all those things, and so that it doesn't become a burden to the town in enforcing the ordinance. There's companies that actually do that as a business service, and so a certain percentage of the money goes towards that, and it doesn't just all go into the. I mean, it goes into the town office, but a bunch of it goes right back out, so that to the management company.
What do you think, Beth?
About what? The whole thing.
Well, I mean,
I just wanna,
you're the other side.
and not really though, like, I can't explain it, like, I guess on the other side, but like, I also wrote it, like, and I'm not kidding, like, my whole thing was to be a good neighbor, like,
No. I don't think we changed
Yeah,
little of
I
anything
know,
from
it
your
was very
original
little,
version.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
great.
yeah.
I just,
And I feel bad, I mean, I tell you, Millie Hoekstra was the one that said it to me, you can't control people's behavior. I wish I could. So that piece, I wish I could. I can't. We try to have strict rental agreements, we try to have, policies out. But the money partly, I don't know. I just don't think there's gonna be very much money unless, I don't know, like a management company, that's gonna get. I mean, I just don't know. Is this gonna be put on Marty to register the people? Mine will be easy because I'll send her a spreadsheet probably, but I don't know, whatever you guys think, I don't have the answer either. I just wanted to correct the numbers, that's all.
Right, and that's very
no, I
good.
Yeah.
appreciate it, because we didn't have any idea, really. We were expecting.
So,
It was, it's still sitting on the table. There was no second.
And I just would like to ask for clarification for that first year of no registration fee. Is that from the enactment of the ordinance or is that from the time of registration? So if we enact the ordinance today and we do that for the first year, what if I decide next year that I want to register short term? Is that going to exempt me the first year or is that just for the enactment?
Beth, I'm gonna keep
Clear.
asking the questions.
That's clarification.
but then I didn't get a second. You said.
No,
So
you
then
did
I
not.
really
There's
don't
still
need to
just a
discuss it.
motion sitting on the
Right.
table, but it didn't look like
I'm
was
sorry,
anyone
the motion
interested
was-
in, the motion was for the first year to suggest no registration fee to encourage data gathering, but it didn't sound like there was anyone interested in a second, so
Which is fine.
I just think
without a
it's
second,
loss.
Robert's rules
It
would
means a
indicate
loss
that
of
that
revenue.
motion just fails.
That fails, right. So.
So I
next-
think,
Okay, that's what I'm trying. to
Yeah, well,
clarify.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Next question was, you're talking about trying to raise funds, and that by the sounds of it, this is not the way to raise funds, because there's not gonna be enough people that are gonna be required to register to raise any significant funds. It's more about the focus should be the information gathering. But on a side note, and probably totally throwing a monkey wrench into this question, like I think down on, I've heard, I have no proof, down on the coast, like York or where there's a lot of vacation rentals and summer homeowners, that residents pay one tax rate and non-residents pay another tax rate, which is much higher. And that is a way to raise funds to cover all the summer residents that come in here.
Very interesting, because I wouldn't believe that
I don't know
based
if the
on
state would-
taxation
yeah,
law
I
that you
think
could do
that
that.
would be,
I thought that was,
There may be fees or something that the town, that the city itself charges, but for like taxation by your property
property
purposes,
taxes, yes.
they cannot handle anybody different. The only thing they can do differently is if it's,
Out of
what
state
is the word I'm
rental,
trying to think of?
out of state registration fee, annual, they do, you know, they can create anything.
Those
They
types
pay
of things.
excise tax on my
Taxing, but
car.
you're talking about taxation. Taxation is state run. You cannot play with taxations.
Property
Taxation laws.
tax,
Property taxation is state run. You
don't
don't,
you all get your own mill rate locally
we
decided?
get our mill rate, but we can't tax the overlook different than we tax downtown. We can't pick and choose tax rates and
it's
what
all
rate to
based on
charge
the mill rate.
taxes. It's all based on a singular mill rate for the town as a whole.
Okay.
So I'm not sure,
Okay.
it must be some other fee that they're imposing that would be.
Okay. Okay.
Lee,
Rather see-
Yes, Lee.
Beth, would you rather see a cap on total number of Airbnbs or a registration fee for as many as you want?
That's a great question. Now that you know the number, I don't believe there's too many. But I know, like, the number's floating around there. I think it's a manageable amount. That's my opinion, of course, but. I also think that whether you put a cap on or not, if it's, let's say you put it like 50 more, 100 more. It seems like just as many people that are listing their properties for rent are retiring. So like in 2020, that year, I think I had more people that took their properties off the rental market. Of course, except for Saddleback Mountain. I mean, the condos, you know, they've been closed for 5 years. When more people moved, I agree. See, I think that I do agree with you that there's more people here. But my argument would be, I'm just not quite sure they're all renters. I think that a lot of the second homeowners have moved here.
Right, I'm sure they're not all rent,
Yeah,
no, but
So-
I'm
so I
sorry.
don't know, like, yeah, I feel like my goal, I'm thinking if I was in your position, sitting on the committee, I would want to know where every single rental is. So because we all want to be good neighbors and we want to work together as a community, I would want to be able to call and say, this address is totally out of control, and our police department know exactly who owns that property, to be able to respond and hopefully to take care of it, hopefully find the heck out of them if they're not following the rules. I feel like the people that are not following the rules should be punished. So maybe someone said, I don't know, but maybe that fee is like double. I don't even know what's in the ordinance right now, but
$250.
$250. So maybe if they break the rules, it's $500. But let's get them to register first. Let's figure out where these people are. But I don't know. I mean,
We're-
Jamie had a great point. $300, it's fine.
We're talking the same language because I'm trying to raise money to pay for the enforcement of
Yes,
those rules. It's the same because I just got a picture from a potential client, which probably is not gonna happen, but he has a bunk bed and a couch, pull-out couch in his basement, in his furnace room with no egress window. And it's an Airbnb, and his renters complained about the furnace being on the wall next to the bed and wanted to know if we could enclose that. So like who enforces, like the state has laws that say a bedroom is a
Needs a
minimum
window.
of 80 square feet and needs to have a 5-foot egress window. Like, we're on the same page. Who enforces the rules and who pays to enforce the rules? The registration fee would pay to enforce the rules. We're on the same page.
yeah.
I think we need to focus on getting back to, we want to get something passed, we want to make it safe for people, we want people coming to Rands to have a positive experience, we want the people who live here to be favorably disposed to those who come. And whether you can do that with the financial aspect or not, I'm not sure, but I think at this point, as long as we keep tying the finance piece to this ordinance, it's going to perhaps be a somewhat divisive piece. So perhaps we need to remove the financial piece for now and just focus on getting the data, the registrations, I'm not saying you don't have a good point, Lee, what I'm saying is I just don't know if we're gonna be able, I just don't think that's really gonna accomplish what we're trying to do. First and foremost, let's find out what we have, who they're at, get them into compliance, so those things like that don't happen. And then as a community, so that people come into Rangeley, they know, oh, I had a great time there and all, it's gonna be a positive, it's gonna reflect well on us, we're gonna wanna come back here as opposed to, was a miserable, terrible time and then, whatever, so I would like this to encourage us to maybe redirect towards getting this finished in that way. And I know there was still that other piece of data in our packets about that host compliance software that.
Right, there's actually a couple of other things in the, yeah. Okay, so Lee, if I could trouble you to compile the data that you have all together, and give each of us a copy, that would be awesome and amazing. I appreciate all the work that you did to get that data together, and I can see where that would support your request for the fee that has been proposed by a vote of the board. So as of right now, I still see that fee not being changed. There was no motion to change that.
No, I'm just
Perfect,
putting
okay,
talking language out there.
perfect.
So can I make a motion? I just want to talk just a little, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
you're
so
good.
sorry.
You're good.
I think at this point, Scott's right. Maybe the first year registration fee is not gonna be active or make sense to get this passed. I think a definite registration for 100% or try to get 100% of the short-term rentals registered this first year would probably pass the selectmen's board, maybe. And then we can figure out from there what it's gonna cost to enforce the rules and come up with a nominal fee for registration and move forward, so that nobody could argue the fact that this is what it costs to actually maintain and enforce these rules. I make a motion that we strike the $300 registration fee for the Airbnb for the first year.
For the first registration
For
year,
the first registration.
So whenever it's your first year, it's
Yeah.
free.
does
Second,
that work for you? Is that language, the first registration year?
I second.
Any further discussion?
I think it's gonna be hard to ask for the money later on from the renter, from the homeowners.
We've got to ask at some point, whether it's today, but right now, I don't even think with the $300 registration fee, the selectmen would give us a nod. But anything, I think we'd be back here next year, Nancy, talking about the same thing.
Any further discussion? Yes.
I just wanna say, I support whatever you guys decide. I don't want you to think like, whatever you guys vote on today, I'm not fighting anything. I had decided that to the last meeting. I just wanted to let you know my opinion. I'm not gonna fight whatever you recommend. That's number one. And number two is I will help get 100% of them, and I think I can do that. Because it's, we have software that tells us who the other people are, and I have a friendly relationship with most, so I would help definitely compile that list to try to be 100% compliant. But I don't want you to think that, I really thought about it after the last meeting. I can't stand when people criticize people that are volunteering their time, so I wanted to give you my opinion, but I'm not gonna fight whatever you guys decide. I didn't really know that.
So we vote on this, I have one other motion after we vote on this.
Okay, perfect. So all those in favor? All those opposed? All right. And Scott, did I hear you had another motion?
Just, and then again, it's a recommendation, and Nancy said, you need to give them some reason to register, but if there's a advertising piece, certified by, whatever, they've registered, we've done the inspection, they get, I don't know if that would help, if that'd be a marketing
That's a
ploy that
great
they
idea.
could put, then this is a, if they don't do that, well, okay, they're not. Just, it's a thought that maybe that's a tool,
That's.
carrot, if you will, to get them, you know, I don't know what it would look like, but some sort of, you know, recognition that they're
A little
registered.
logo, slogan, you
Yeah,
know,
that goes on the website. you know.
friendly neighbor certified, town of
Whatever,
Lansing.
yeah.
And
something
and the
like
thing
that.
is, it wouldn't be so much that you had to have it, but when somebody's looking, all these ones have it,
Right.
this one doesn't.
We
That's
do-
a very good idea.
We do have in here posting short-term rental registration certificates in the homes as part of this.
Right, but I mean, this would be like, they could put it on their website,
Almost like-
you know, on
Yeah,
their
they put it on
advertisement. you can-
Furbo.
TripAdvisor,
Yeah.
Excellence, something.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's what I'm just saying, it might be one of those things that you.
Is that a motion?
I would make a motion that we do that.
I'll
You
second
move
that.
to.
Huh?
You move to create a.
Create a recognition of those who have
Comply.
complied, you know, some sort of acknowledgement.
With the
or-
short-term rental.
The short-term rental, yeah.
ordinance.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Go for time.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
Mark has a.
You do. What can I do for you, Mark?
Okay, back to the question of the goal of the ordinance. So it seems like getting them registered so you can identify them and know where they are is one of the goals.
Is the primary goal.
Having a fee going forward to cover the extra costs of them.
Is the secondary goal.
Right, and then, that keeps bringing up the good neighbor part, so is, the behavior of the renters an important part of this thing, and, is that a
It
problem?
is for me, as much as we can regulate it. I mean, as
Right,
much as
but-
can be
but it-
regulated.
You
But
can't,
is that an issue?
Yes.
It's been an issue.
Is that why
That's the issue. I
You're
think
claiming to be, you wanna be a good neighbor because
that's my, yes.
some people have had issues with tenants
because
of
people-
short-term rentals in the past, is that?
Yes, you know how people are.
Okay. Just trying to,
Yes. There's some bad apples.
and then you brought up about the guy in the basement there with the pull-up couch next to.
I get a picture, I'll show you
So-
the picture.
No, but, so are you, is there,
that would not get a certification.
right, but is it a code violation?
Yes,
Yeah.
So, and there
Yes.
must be, state laws against renting.
Yes.
So with the
unsafe
registration,
properties.
with the registration, to get the certificate of compliance, they would need to be an inspection by a fire marshal or a company outside. And at that time, I would think that the bedrooms would have to meet the minimum state code, which is 80 square feet and one egress window. So that would bring everybody into compliance, which I think would cut down on shoving 15 people into a
Well,
four
we
bedroom.
did in that ordinance, it does say per bedroom, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
It says 70.
So somebody would
70.
determine,
70.
Yeah,
somebody other
70.
than us would determine
Yeah.
the bed.
So you're gonna make some type of reference to a state statute or something for.
Well,
It's already in the ordinance.
Yeah, the building
Do
code.
you have a
That it's
copy
safe
of
for
the-
habitation or something, I'm gonna ask you for some backup.
Occupancy limits, it's in here, occupancy limits, maximum occupancy, short-term rental. Shall be 2 guests per bedroom, which is right the law.
So somebody would determine, a professional person would determine how many bedrooms a house actually has. I think that's the key.
Thank you.
I think that would go a long way towards alleviating much of the, you know, it's like, no, you can do this many and that's it. Now, if they violate that, well.
And they lose their little certification check.
You're fine.
And because everybody knows how much I love to keep us to the 6 o'clock that we say we're going to stop at, really quick. Nancy, thank you so much for providing the information. I did want to let you know that this bill text that you sent us, that one, That was from the 129th legislative. We just closed the second of the 130th session.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's a May of
But I mean, it was
2019, it was,
information.
right, but in May of 2019, it was voted out not to
Yeah,
pass.
right,
It's dead
yeah.
on the floor.
I saw it, but I figured it's information.
Uh,
Somebody else tried to.
And then this lovely thing, this post compliance thing that we asked, is this what we asked for?
So this is the information that,
That
Brennan has
company
stated,
provided.
yes. They were a little misleading when I spoke with them before. Apparently, this software will look at all of the rental sites to cross-check to see who is registered and who is not. They do not have a solution for us to
For
use
us
to
locally.
register through them
Yeah.
or anything like that's, it's just for us to try to gather money from people who are not compliant.
I've read through this, if I really don't fit
It doesn't
what
fit,
we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's not what we were after.
If we-
right?
If they
And
had
it's
a,
not
they
what
had a,
he,
they had a
it's not what he
spreadsheet already.
provided me when he stated it, which is why I requested something in writing.
Well,
So,
I would move that we not waste time on having them come and share it, because this doesn't look like it's gonna be.
Second. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor? Okay, thank you, Marty, for getting that information to us. All right, folks, so really quick, October meetings.
Oh,
You're gone.
I'm gone. Yeah, this is my last one till November.
You're gone for both the 1st and the 5th and the 19th.
I'm away on the 5th and I'm on sabbatical, so I'm.
You're gone for both, you're gone for both.
okay, so
When is the next meeting?
I have October 5th, which is 2 weeks away, which I can do. And then the 19th, which I can do,
So you could do both in October. Lee, what?
because they're Wednesdays, yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure right now I can do both.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move forward with schedule for both of them. You two, you're on sabbatical, but you can join by Zoom. You could if you want to.
If I'm around, I'll try to make it, but
You
I'm
you
just,
could if you want, but
I'm in and out. this
Given
whole-
what
I will
Sabbatical
still
supposed-
send you the documents.
Thank you, and
so
if
can
I'm,
see
if
how
I'm
to-
here in town, I'll try to be. here.
perfect. Okay, so 5 PM on both the 5th and the 19th works for the three of us. If it doesn't, just let Marty or myself know, because obviously it won't be a quorum if one of us can't make it. Okay, perfect. All right, folks, motion to adjourn?
Second.
I was- I think it was Val's motion. She raised her hand. And Scott second. Thank you so much.
Thank
All in
you.
favor?
I love.
Thank you so much, folks.
One non-contestable motion of the rubbish.
Isn't that
removal
glorious?
is such a wonderful, wonderful little thing they put in there. Oh,
So was that on the agenda again?
I was gonna be traveling on so I know.
Probably.
Until not this.
Perfect. Okay.
19th, I probably will be able to be okay.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna be in Arizona with this.
Thank you.
I'll see what they're doing out there.
Thank you. If you.
See you the 5th,
Oh,
that's a Wednesday, we're gonna be in Flagstaff.
Do you have, what's the chances you have a sleeping bag that I can borrow?
Of this right
Yeah, I'm like, no, I told Ryan, I'm like, I was ask her, but they haven't.
Do you need a sleeping bag?
My mom bought them sleeping bags. No, that's right.
Oh, you do? Oh, sweet.
Yes.
Avery is going to
Yeah,
Tanglewood
and-
tomorrow.
Oh.
And I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. So can I swing by
Yeah,
and
just come to my house.
hijack
I'll
one?
let
Yeah.
you know.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Tracy. Remove paper.
Okay.
500
Bags, bags, bags.
So that she can.
I was looking at that.
Without the county. per
Got
any cost. So if you
Look
could
at the, whatever plan
ask
that
her
they
for
put
some of my.
forward and all those.
I have trouble with screen time.
Oh, yes. the
Yeah.
comprehensive
I think it's
plan.
kind of like- Many of these.
So you're the secretary.